There is a specific kind of wardrobe problem that is harder to see than a poor fit or a wrong color. It is not the mistake of buying something obviously wrong. It is the mistake of buying something that was genuinely correct at the time, correct for the decade it belonged to, correct for the proportions that were fashionable then, correct for the way men dressed in that era, and then continuing to wear it as if time has not moved, as if the wardrobe exists outside of time and the man inside it does not age. Every decade of menswear has its own proportions, its own silhouette, its own relationship between the body and the garment. The wide trouser leg of a certain decade, the double-breasted blazer that was everywhere in another, the very formal shirt worn with everything, as if casualization had not yet happened, the heavy orthopedic shoe that felt like sensible comfort, the blazer cut with significant padding that was the default for professional men in a previous era. These pieces did not become wrong overnight. They became wrong slowly, imperceptibly, as the decade that gave them meaning quietly passed, and the men who bought them continued to wear them because the garments still existed in the wardrobe, still fit after a fashion, and had never been consciously questioned. This is the 10-year mistake, not one mistake, a category of mistake. The style decisions made in good faith a decade ago that have calcified into a wardrobe identity that belongs to a different era, that make a man look not like a timeless authoritative dresser, but like a man frozen at a particular moment in his style history. Frozen not because he made bad decisions at the time, frozen because he never reassessed those decisions once the time moved on. This channel is about classic menswear, timeless style, and the specific practical decisions that help men over 60 look their best. Today we are going into the specific decisions from a decade ago that are still working against men over 60 now, and exactly how to update them without abandoning the principles that have always served well. The first 10-year mistake is the wide leg trouser. In a certain decade, a more relaxed, wider leg was considered modern, a reaction against the very slim trouser that preceded it. Men who updated their wardrobe in that decade bought wide-leg trousers, wore them confidently, and they looked right for the time. 10 years later, those same trousers look heavy, dated, and visually shortening. They add apparent weight to the lower body, obscure the shoe, and eliminate the clean vertical line that makes a man look taller and more defined. They are not wrong pieces. They are decade-specific pieces, still being worn in the wrong decade. The specific visual problem with wide-leg trousers on a man over 60 is the proportion it creates between the upper and lower body. The blazer above creates one silhouette, fitted, intentional, proportioned. The wide-leg trouser below creates another, relaxed, full, visually heavy. The two silhouettes fight each other. The outfit lacks the consistent proportion that makes a well-dressed man's appearance feel complete and deliberate. The correct replacement is the straight-leg trouser, not skinny, not fashion-forward, simply clean. A leg that follows the natural line of the body without excess fabric and without clinging. A break at the shoe that is clean and precise. This is not a trend, it is the proportion that has always worked and will continue to work. The second 10-year mistake is the double-breasted blazer worn as everyday smart casual. The double-breasted jacket was a strong presence in menswear in a specific decade, formal, authoritative, distinctly associated with a particular era of professional dressing. Men who invested in a good double-breasted blazer then wore it with confidence, and it was appropriate for the time. Today the same jacket reads as a specific decade signature, its formality level mismatched with contemporary smart casual, its silhouette associated with a previous generation of professional men rather than with the confident, timeless aesthetic of a well-dressed man over 60. There is a specific visual reason the double-breasted jacket reads as dated, even when the quality is excellent. The wide button stance and overlapping front panels add visual width at the chest and torso. On a younger man in a decade that favored this silhouette, that width communicated authority. On an older man in a contemporary smart casual setting, the same width communicates bulk and formality rather than authority. The garment has not changed. The decade that gave its proportions meaning has. This is not to say the double-breasted jacket cannot work in a dinner suit or a very specific formal context. It remains appropriate. But as a standalone blazer for smart casual or elevated smart casual occasions, it creates an impression of wearing costume rather than clothes. The replacement is the unstructured single-breasted blazer in navy, stone or camel, which occupies exactly the same authority and elegance in the contemporary wardrobe that the double-breasted occupied in its decade, without signaling the decade itself. The third 10-year mistake is the very formal shirt worn in every context. A decade ago, the formal spread-collar dress shirt in bright white, crisply pressed, with substantial construction and a very upright collar, was the default for professional men and was worn in a wide range of contexts, including smart casual ones. Today, that same shirt creates an impression of over-formality in smart casual settings, its construction too stiff and its silhouette too rigid for the contemporary register of smart casual dressing. If you are finding this useful, the kind of direct, specific analysis of which decade-old decisions are still affecting appearance now, go ahead and subscribe. This channel is built around exactly this level of practical honesty, and there is a great deal more coming on how men over 60 can update what needs updating while keeping what has always served them well. The correct, contemporary alternative is the Oxford shirt, the basket weave cotton that has natural texture and a slightly relaxed fit that works both tucked and untucked, the soft collar that lies flat without the stiffness of a formal collar stay. The Oxford shirt looks like a shirt that belongs to now, not because it is trendy, but because it has the right level of ease for contemporary smart casual, and because it has been worn by well-dressed men continuously across every decade without ever reading as dated. It is the timeless version of the formal shirt, the same function, the same quality standard, a more contemporary construction. The fourth 10-year mistake is the heavily padded or structured suit jacket worn as everyday outerwear. In a specific decade, the fully canvassed, heavily padded suit jacket with its stiff chest piece, prominent shoulder padding and substantial construction was the default. Men bought good quality suits and wore the jacket separately as a blazer for smart casual occasions. Today, the same jacket reads immediately as decade-specific. Its construction is too formal for smart casual. Its padding adds a visual stiffness that reads as old-fashioned rather than authoritative, and its silhouette belongs to a specific professional era that contemporary dressing has moved past. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 10-year mistakes do you recognize most clearly in your own wardrobe? The wide-leg trouser, the double-breasted blazer, the very formal shirt, or the heavily padded jacket? Tell me in the comments. I read every one and want to know exactly what men over 60 are working with. The replacement for the heavily padded suit jacket is the piece we have discussed in many previous videos, the unstructured blazer. No canvas, minimal shoulder padding, a construction that allows the jacket to drape naturally rather than hold a manufactured shape. This is not a compromise in quality. Unstructured blazers from quality makers use excellent fabrics and careful construction. It is an update in register. The blazer that belongs to now rather than to 10 years ago. The fifth 10-year mistake is the heavy orthopedic or comfort-first shoe worn as standard everyday footwear. A decade ago, as comfort became an increasing priority, many men over 60 transitioned to very thick-soled, very cushioned, very substantial footwear, shoes that prioritized the feeling of wearing nothing over the visual effect of wearing something appropriate. These shoes, wide in the last, thick in the sole, sometimes with visible comfort technology, visually shorten the leg, add apparent weight to the lower body, and disconnect from every other element of the outfit above them. They cannot be made to work with a blazer and tailored trouser. The registers are simply too far apart. The specific visual damage the comfort-first shoe does is at the proportion level, the leg of the trouser, clean, straight, falling to a correct break, suddenly terminates in a very large, very thick-soled, very wide shoe that belongs to a completely different visual register. The eye travels down the trouser to the shoe and stops, registered the mismatch, and resets the overall impression of the man as less considered than the clothes above the ankle suggested. One shoe decision, undoing everything above it. The replacement is the slim profile leather shoe, the derby, the Chelsea boot, the penny loafer in dark brown or tan. These shoes are genuinely comfortable in quality versions, particularly when broken incorrectly, and with quality insoles if needed. They connect to the outfit above them rather than fighting it, and they complete the leather coordination system, belt, shoe and bag in the same color family that produces the sense of a fully considered complete appearance. Comfort and quality are not mutually exclusive. The comfort-first shoe is a compromise that was never necessary. Here is the complete 10-year update framework. Wide-leg trouser, replace with straight leg or slight taper, clean break-at shoe, double-breasted blazer in everyday contexts, replace with unstructured single-breasted blazer in classic color. Very formal spread collar dress shirt, replace with Oxford shirt in the same white or pale blue. Heavily padded structured suit jacket as standalone, replace with unstructured blazer. Heavy comfort first shoe, replace with slim profile quality leather shoe in dark brown or tan. None of these replacements require abandoning quality, abandoning investment, or abandoning the principles that have served well. They require only updating the specific pieces that belonged to a decade that has passed. A well-dressed man over 60 does not chase trends, but he does not cling to decades either. He wears what has always worked in the versions of those pieces that work now. So here is the challenge. Open the wardrobe and look specifically for the 10-year mistakes. The trouser that is cut wider than a clean straight leg. The double-breasted jacket being worn outside its appropriate context. The very formal shirt that makes smart casual feel stiff. The heavily padded jacket that belongs to a specific era. And the thick-soled shoe that cannot connect to anything above it. Identify one. Begin with one. Not a wardrobe overhaul, a single replacement, and notice what one updated piece does to the overall impression of everything it is combined with. If you found this useful, subscribe and share it. This is exactly the kind of direct wardrobe analysis that helps men over 60 understand what is working against them and what to do about it. In the next video, we are going into the specific way men over 60 can use their silver hair as a genuine style asset. The colors, the combinations, and the specific decisions that make gray hair the most powerful thing in the wardrobe. You will not want to miss that one.